happy Monday to you all. Welcome to Futbol Americas. He is Alejandro Moreno. He is Herculez Gomez. I'm Cristina Alexander. I like this jersey.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice color.
Must be nice. How is that related to Futbol Americas?
It's a football jersey.
How is that related to Futbol Americas?
What do you mean?
Isn't that Porto?
Yeah.
All right.
First complaint.
First complaint. No. First of all, no. Can I just say?
You got to be a ray of positive. You're a ray of sunshine.
No,
you got to be.
I was about to say that. I was about 30 seconds before we go on air. I get this passive-aggressive attitude from you both, ray of sunshine, just because I asked a very simple question that you guys didn't have the answer that I wanted. That's all.
Wow.
And that does not belong in Futbol Americas.
Well, let me tell you. So, Futbol Americas.
Did not expect.
It's football culture. So it doesn't matter where the football comes from. When it comes to the kits, we are there.
Oh, is it Americas? Or is it everywhere?
It's Stakio's jersey.
Oh, all right, okay.
There you
See,
go.
now, that's a connection
There's a
I wanted.
connection.
Thank you.
You were quizzing him.
Thank you.
What if it was a Miguel Layún throwback?
And it is not Eustachio's jersey.
He didn't show up that day.
Okay.
The magic of television, everyone. Speaking of magic, Sergino Dest had some magic in the Dutch Super Cup, helping them win. We're going to break that all down. And also an epic showdown in the USL League 2 final. We will, of course, break that down. But first...
What about the Portuguese League? We're not covering them?
No.
Not since Martin
yet.
Anselmi left.
Not yet. We will talk about some Brazilians in Real Madrid, by the way. But we're going to start with some not so great news for Inter Miami. Not result-wise, but when it comes to Lionel Messi, hey, there's Rodrigo de Paul taking the field here in the Leagues Cup round 2. They won their first game against Atlas. But before this game was even over, Inter Miami was already suffering the loss.
No, Leo, no, Leo, no. Please, por favor, Leo, get up. Levántate, Leo. Levántate. All Leagues Cup, MLS, Liga MX. Levántate, Leo, levántate.
He knew, huh?
Yeah.
Knew exactly what was going to happen.
Knew right away, but that didn't stop Inter Miami from getting a little damage done here against Necaxa. 12th minute, Velasco Segovia finding the top corner. Herc.
Yeah, if you're Necaxa at some point, you got to pressure. You can't just be in your own box, let the guy at the top of the box pick and choose his corner.
Never mind that. Vamos, Venezuela!
But how about this? A very sloppy backwards pass.
Oh, Lord.
Is that a red card to you? Is that a red card to you?
I don't even know if it's a foul.
Or was it a clear and obvious opportunity for a goal?
I don't even think this is a foul.
Yeah, it's debatable for me, but I don't.
That's not a foul. That's not a foul.
Forcejeo, a little 50-50 there. Let's take it to the third.
It was more like 73rd.
Red card there. Tomas Badaloni taps in the equalizer there, Ale.
Yeah, it's good service from the left-hand side. Attacking player does well in getting ahead of the defender. Good finish, 1-1.
60th minute, Cristian Calderon dragging down here. Luis Suarez gets his second yellow card of the match. You agree with this one, Herc?
I mean, you got to be a lot smarter if you're already sitting on the yellow. You know the referee is going to be trying some way to compensate this game, and it just happened to Calderon.
81st minute. What a play here by Necaxa to do some damage, and they do. Ricardo Monreal for
The
this
disrespect.
one, I mean,
Combination. Inter Miami gets disorganized defensively. Good finish to the far post.
and a free kick here. De Paul finding Jordi Alba, who equalizes that one.
Wait, who?
Yeah, of course.
Who?
Yeah, that's right.
Jordi Alba on the header right there?
The man you didn't want to talk about. That wasn't relevant in the last few weeks, but here's something relevant. A shot was saved here. Penalty kicks. Rocorrios Novo. Still 2-2. So the next taker for Inter Miami is who, Herc?
It's Jordi Alba.
Yes.
But look at the goalkeeper.
Yes.
Put it over here, put it over here. Jordi Alba says, where? Right there? And then look at this.
Guardadito.
I personally find this very satisfying. I think goalkeepers get away with way too much on penalty kicks. I don't mind this at all.
Ale, do you mind it? And it makes me chuckle.
Oh, an attacking player making fun of a goalkeeper? No, I don't. I don't mind it at all. I don't mind this finish either.
Look, it's a golazo, but you can't tell me hitting. Oh, jeez.
Yep. I think it was a collective gaffe, not only there, but when Messi went down. Here's what Inter Miami said about it. Messi underwent medical tests to evaluate the extent of the muscle discomfort he experienced during last night's Leagues Cup match against Necaxa, which forced him to leave the field. To continue on, the results confirmed a minor muscle injury in his right leg. His medical clearance will depend on his clinical progress in response to treatment. So it's all still up in the air, but it's not too terrible. It maybe looked a little bit worse because Messi is one of those players that just
This man is
doesn't.
distraught. Look at him.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not. That's a medical report without being a medical report. It's as vague could be and as open-ended as it could possibly be. And basically, they are able to check the box of providing the report that they needed to provide, and then that's it. They gave no information whatsoever. Muscle discomfort doesn't get Lionel Messi off the field. Okay? So obviously, there's something that he has done in a soft tissue injury. We don't know what that is because Inter Miami hasn't provided all the information necessary. But why I say it's open-ended is like, well, we'll see how the recovery goes. We have seen this before from Lionel Messi in Inter Miami. We'll see how the recovery goes. And it has extended itself far beyond the 2-3 week period. That has happened in the past. And so I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case right now. If we're going to speculate, and it is a soft tissue injury, and it is, let's just say, for example, it's a hamstring injury, hey, at least 2 weeks before we see Lionel Messi again. At least 2 weeks.
Let me start off with what Ollie's saying right now. We have seen it from Inter Miami. We have seen it from the league where they look the other way. They take a blind side, and it's BS. They're going to milk this that Messi is day to day. We're going to wait and see. Game time decision every single game, and then he doesn't show up, and it'll somehow affect the gate in a positive way. It'll somehow affect sponsorship in a positive way. Because if you were today saying, hey, Messi's out for the next month, do you know what the viewership in Leagues Cup would be? Well, they're going to take a break. Do you know what the gate would be at some of these away games versus Inter Miami? It would plummet. It would go down. They use it to their advantage. And conveniently, only with Inter Miami, only with Lionel Messi. Any other athlete in Major League Soccer, they would force the team to disclose the injury and how long. This is usually tied down to gambling sites because you need to know the availability. It all comes back to money, et cetera, et cetera. It's never minor if Messi comes out. He's not that type of guy. He's going to be on the field, and he wants to play every single game. So there's a few things here. How this impacts Inter Miami going forward, and their chances, whether it be Leagues Cup or League, and also how correct many people were, and Messi was, and hearing his body and saying, I need a break. I can't play this all-star game. He probably already felt something. He probably felt he was already getting to that stage, already getting to that place that he's known before, and he's like, if I don't rest, if I don't take a breather, something's going to give out here.
And he was out 2 games. He was out the All-Star game. He was out that game against Cincinnati. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise, Ale, but how does this tie back to that conversation that we had 2-3 weeks ago about Messi needing to rest?
Well, Exhibit A. Exhibit A, Major League Soccer. Exhibit A, Don Garber. Exhibit A, offices of Major League Soccer. Here it is. You want to hang your hat on this game suspension for Lionel Messi and Jordi Alba, but it's amazing how we've forgotten about Jordi Alba and having all that conversation. But regardless, Lionel Messi. If you are MLS, you want Lionel Messi on the field all the time in whatever competition, which is whether it's Leagues Cup or MLS and whatever other made-up competitions there are here in this country. Leagues Cup is a made-up
Confederation, because we're going to 3 countries.
It's made up regardless. And this version of it is something else. It's something special. And yet you're saying, you know what? You missed the All-Star game, so here you go, miss a match. You're suspended. If I were Lionel Messi, petty as I may be naturally, when the moment I pull the hamstring, and I know that it's now a soft tissue injury, and I know this comes from overuse, and I know part of it has to do with the fact that, well, apparently I can't rest, and I got to go to an all-star game, and I get suspended because of it, I would turn to the cameras and to whoever is watching in the MLS offices and go, take that, take that, take that, take that, take that. But of course, that means that I'm missing games because I'm injured. So I would backtrack from being as petty. But if it were me, I would be, in some ways, in a sick world, I would be happy that I got injured, just to provide evidence.
I get it.
Just to provide evidence that, hey,
This
look,
is what I was talking about.
Either you take care of me, you got to take care of the golden goose head.
Yeah.
I am the golden goose, and you don't want to take care of me. These are the things.
Do you know how fortunate Major League Soccer and Leagues Cup is here? Could you imagine he gets injured in the very first game? The way this tournament is formatted, only 4 teams go through out of 18, and you compete within your own league only. So realistically, they're going to get by and get very fortunate and lucky that most likely Inter Miami will beat Pumas. Pumas, Keylor Navas was red carded. They're going to go back to the 17-year-old kid who's hasn't been that great in his first 2 outings. You could easily attest both defeats to that kid. They'll probably scrape by, and they'll be one of the top 4 teams to make it. And then there's a pause. There's a break. So that Leagues Cup and Messi going for a trophy is still in play. It's still in line. And they'll look out that way. But you can't bank on Lionel Messi being around forever. And you've got to make the moments, like when you compete against Liga MX, like when you're seen in a different stage. You got to make those moments count. So having your biggest product, your biggest assets go down early in a game like this, it just gives fuels to all those naysayers. And there's a few on this panel of like, hey, this is why. This is why you give the man rest when he needs rest.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't suspend him when he wants that rest. And he maybe felt something, as you said, Ale, but of course we will never know. So that's definitely one of the complaints for Inter Miami. There were other complaints around Inter Miami as well, specifically with Javier Mascherano talking about the refereeing. Let's take a listen.
¿Qué pensás, qué opinas al respecto sobre que un partido que disputa el Inter Miami frente al Necaxa, en este caso, sea dirigido por un árbitro de México?
No,
Esa es la...
está mal.
Está mal.
Y está mal, ¿qué te parece?
Sí,
¿A vos te parece está bien?
No.
Ninguna competición la puede dirigir ninguna competición que se enfrentan 2 equipos de diferentes países la puede dirigir un árbitro de un país que está participando el equipo. Después no sé cómo es la historia esta, no me voy a meter ni me interesa. Vos me estás preguntando qué me parece, está mal. Está mal porque de todas las competiciones que he participado como jugador y el poco tiempo que llevo de entrenador, nunca un árbitro de la misma nacionalidad de mi equipo o del rival me dirigió. Es la primera vez y está mal. Si quieren hacer una competencia seria, tienen que cambiar. Lo siento. Esta es así de clarito. Y no digo que el error es porque el árbitro, a ver, todos nos equivocamos, faltaría más. Me extraña que no haya ido al VAR. A ver, me extraña. Por lo menos, lo vuelvo a repetir, confirmá tu decisión en el VAR. Confirmala. ¿Qué cuesta? 30 segundos más, 1 minuto. Van por cada cosa al VAR. Y no fueron por una expulsión que te cambia el partido. Nada, para mí está mal.
Is get lost or get lost? Ale, do you agree with what Javier Mascherano is saying?
Generally speaking, I would agree with Javier Mascherano. And if this were a continental competition that we can get behind and that weren't so difficult to actually explain, then I would understand where he's coming from. But culturally speaking, those of us that have played in MLS understand that there are teams from Canada in MLS. If an American team is playing a Canadian team, does that mean that we cannot have neither a Canadian nor an American referee? So where are we going to get the referee from if you're MLS? And that is something that happens every weekend in Major League Soccer. So it's not something that has been an issue in this country, and perhaps it's not something that Javier Mascherano is familiar with. It doesn't mean that it's right or it's wrong. I'm just telling you that it's just the reality of Major League Soccer. And so I don't even think it's something that they would have thought about when they're designating referees. What if the Mexican teams then say, hey, we'll have no American referees if we're playing an American team? So where are we going to get those referees from? Where's the busload of referee coming for Leagues Cup?
And a tournament being played in the States.
And as I appreciate why you make that clarification, but every tournament in this continent is played in the United States, even tournaments that shouldn't, like Copa America. But I digress.
True.
I understand what he's saying. He's absolutely right. In normal footballing tournaments, this would never and should never happen because there are those conspiracy theorists out there going to say, wait a second, the Mexican referee called a red card on the American team and it didn't look like a red card, and then it leads people down. Yeah, you know, the tin hats. It leads people down these roads.
The Twilight Zone.
It leads people down roads that we shouldn't be talking about.
Right.
But there's 54, I believe, phase one, group phase matches. I can tell you from having watched plenty of CONCACAF football, let's just say you give one good referee 3 matches. There aren't 10 good referees between Mexico, between the U.S., between Costa Rica, between Guatemala. There's not enough of those referees. It's a numbers game, so I can see why they are doing it this way. Ali brings up a good point of this is nothing new to people who have experienced Major League Soccer, but it is very new, in the modern era at least, to those Mexican League fans who are saying, wait a second. And it's not only happened here. We've heard it from America. Jardine was just saying the same thing about his game against Minnesota. He was blaming the referee instead of blaming his defenders. You know, they could seriously be to blame. So this is a normal feeling. I'm not going to give Javier Mascherano a get lost because I understand he doesn't come from the CONCACAF world. But in this tournament, which is a made-up tournament, that the format is weird, that the tiebreakers are weird. Everything about this is weird. This is another weird quirk in this little tournament. So it is what it is.
I mean, and it seems like when we see the list of complaints from Inter Miami, they're asking to be catered to on several things. Maybe the latest being the suspension of Lionel Messi and Jordi Alba when we've seen that in years past. Can this be kind of a dangerous territory as well, Herc, when we talk about Inter Miami's kind of complaints and wanting to change a lot of league rules?
No. I think every league around the world has. I mean, Real Madrid, Barcelona, they're going to get the calls. They're gonna want more to go their way. Club America in Mexico, it's the same thing. Inter Miami is that team within Major League Soccer. They expect preferential treatment for what they bring to the table. They've also been punished for that as well.
Exactly.
A few years ago, they were caught cheating and they were punished for it. I think it comes with the table being one of these super clubs, especially in a league like Major League Soccer, supposed to be built around parity. They seem to be the team that gets away with most things, most signings. How can you fit this in? Somehow Inter Miami finds a way. So, yeah, I could see where you're going with that. Most fans around the league have whiplash when it comes to Messi. They have whiplash when it comes to Inter Miami and everything it brings. I can see why some fans would feel that way, but no, I don't think they're entering any type of dangerous territory. I think they are the territory.
This is not a new conversation in Major League Soccer. In fact, I would point to a team that both Herc and I played in, far more likable when I was playing with that team rather than when Herculez was playing with that team. The LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
At some point, the LA Galaxy were that team.
The first one.
In MLS. And sort of this dynasty kind of thing, and the almighty and all-powerful. And the thought from other teams in Major League Soccer was, well, they get the preferential team. They get every single player. They get every decision going their way. They get everything because they are the LA Galaxy. Now that has transitioned into Inter Miami. And I'm sure the moment that Lionel Messi walks out the door, that may just change, and it may be another team that will take on that mantle.
Yeah, because we're seeing big names come to MLS. We talk about Thomas Muller. We talk about the possibility of seeing Heung-min Son here very soon. Obviously, nothing official at the moment. But we do want to remind you that ESPN is available daily on ESPN+.
Yes, it is. I was there today.
Speaking of big names, Tigres is very much used to having big names on their squad. The latest and greatest, Ángel Correa. I mean, when we talk about his level at the moment, very comfortable with Tigres. Eric, 4 goals now in 2 Leagues Cup games.
Angel Correa, he started off the way that I quite frankly didn't think he would start. It started off with a bang. He's played very well in Liga MX. He starts scoring goals now in Leagues Cup. He had that pressure mounting. He's done very well, a double in both games. This is a very good player. One that I'm very surprised in. I didn't think Tigres would be playing this well. I didn't think Angel Correa would come in playing this well. This is a guy who I believe had 12 minutes for Atletico Madrid in the Club World Cup. He's not played too much throughout the years for Atletico. He's been more off of a guy off the bench, even though he's been crucial in those moments off the bench. I had reservations about him leading the line in a team like Tigres, but he has come in and he has looked good. He's looked the part.
I'm surprised that you're surprised at what you're seeing from Angel Correa.
I really am. And you know this, Liga MX, everybody wants their Andre Pierre Gignac. And the team that is constantly looking for another Andre Pierre Gignac is Tigres. Yeah. They're the team that constantly look for another Andre Pierre Gignac. They're looking for young, bright players. They're looking for players that can come in and make a splash. And Angel Correa, he's a World Cup champion. Nobody's going to debate that, but he wasn't necessarily a prime piece of that puzzle. He's a La Liga player, a superstar with Atletico Madrid, but he wasn't necessarily a big piece in that puzzle when it comes to being a starting player. So when you see him do things like this, and trust me, I think he surprised himself here too. Look at Jonathan Bond go one way. He's so surprised. Oh, wow. I got to put him on skates again.
You can just tell the guy that he's been playing well and been scoring goals. I don't know what there has to be a but. Yeah, it's a lot of sort of backhanded
we don't know if he's going to be consistent.
Backhanded compliments there.
No backhanded.
It's a great start.
I want
him
him
to
to
keep
keep
going.
going.
Great starts.
Angel Correa is the best striker in Liga MX. The striker with the when you watch what he's capable of doing, and if you watch Atletico Madrid, you would know that yes, while he comes off the bench, the question is always, why is Simeone not playing this guy more often? Mm-hmm. Maybe there is a reason as to why that is the case. I don't think we're going to find that reason, nor do we need to find that reason in Liga MX, because he will play every minute that is available to him, simply because the skill set, the talent level, is superior to most attacking players in Liga MX and superior to most defenders in Liga MX, superior to most defenders in MLS. And what he was doing to some of these defending players, and the goalkeeper in particular, good Lord Jesus. Good Lord.
Easy with Jonathan Bond.
Good Lord. Good Lord. He has something about his game that is exciting, that is productive, that has a flair for the dramatic. The consistency can be a question because we don't see him play often enough. Now, the other thing to say about that is that he's fresh.
Yeah.
Those legs don't have the miles that most players that are coming from Europe to Liga MX or MLS don't have the miles that other legs have. So I look at Angel Correa, if he's able to just focus on being that sort of player for Tigres and being a big hit in Liga MX, and defenders, watch out. Because when he's feeling himself, when he's hot, he can be an outstanding, dominant player. And I feel like he's going to be, in fact, I know that he's going to be that in Liga MX.
Seems the part right now. And the one thing I do like from what I see from him, he's got a different speed to him. There's a different gear when it comes to Angel Correa. He's electric. It's just one of these things. And you know, from being in Monterrey, we've seen these players come in. We've seen these players, the fanfare. And oftentimes, the only ones who have stood out or have stayed and maintained are the Andre Pierre Gignacs and the Sergio Canales of the world. So I'm hoping he continues that, because at 30 years of age, he's in his prime right now. He's in his prime, and he chose Liga MX. He's got a lot of miles left in those legs. Well, we want to see that.
Ale said he was the best striker in Liga MX. Is he the best player right now in Liga MX?
I mean, certainly, you can't ignore his resume, and that puts him on a different stratosphere from the rest. There are players who I could say, this is one of the best players, and I would put in that conversation from what I've seen in the body of work in Liga MX. That would be a Paulinho, or Toluca, bicampeón de goleo. That would be Alexis Vega. It would be a Fidalgo. Sendejas has certainly been very good. But if you're adding the body of work, the resume, from just what you've seen right now, it's hard to argue that. But I don't think I'd say that right now, because
you need to see more.
It's difficult to gauge on 5 games.
Best tattoo game in Liga MX? He's got strong tattoo game.
Well,
I
Sambuesa's
don't know.
retired now. So Sambuesa's
very
retired
true.
now.
So I guess-
I mean, Sergio Ramos is pretty.
there it is. There
That,
it is.
that sounded more
Soft
like
spot.
yes.
Nobody
We found a
mentioned
soft spot.
Nobody mentioned him, but we do want to mention this. Ahora, here, Herc, fit, ready to play. He looks good. He looks confident. What do you think Mauricio Pochettino is thinking of him?
He's got to be salivating at the fact of there's a possibility Sergino Dest is back to his old self. Sergino Dest is one of the most important players the U.S. men's national team has. People think of him as just a defender. He's hardly that. He hardly defends. But what he does when he has the ball in the build-out, the first phase of the game, his quality in the attacking third, and the final third, his ability to make good decisions, his ability to eliminate players on the 1v1 dribble. He is one of the most important players tactically to any coach's scheme. If you're Mauricio Pochettino, you got to be thinking to myself, I have a player I can trust. I have a player who could help me in the build-out of my team. I have a player who could be another attacking piece in that final third, alongside a Christian Pulisic, alongside a Timothy Weah, alongside some of these talented players that I have. I finally get to have these players at my disposal at the same time. That's what I'm thinking if I'm Mauricio Pochettino. Now, me here, he did his ACL April last year. It was an 11-month recovery. It's not an easy injury to get over. It's not an easy injury to mentally forget about. He's a tricky, shifty player. He's a player that takes a lot of risk. He's very dynamic, very explosive. I certainly will be paying a lot of attention this season with PSV to see if we get the old Sergino Dest. And if it's not the old Sergino Dest, if he's learned anything to become a better Sergino Dest despite not having that explosiveness. This is one of the biggest players the U.S. has right now, and if they have any chance of doing anything special come 2026 in the World Cup, Sergino Dest will be there.
I mean, we saw Arfson on the left. We saw Freeman on the right. And we know, obviously, that's going to look very different when it comes to U.S. men's national team and when Mauricio Pochettino has every one of his players available to him. Ale, how refreshing could it be to have someone like Sergino Dest with all the qualities that Herc just mentioned?
Well, I think it's refreshing because, for no other reason, when you look at the list of players that could potentially play in the right back position, that list it may be long in terms of names, but it's short in terms of options. Real options. Look, when you start talking about, well, Alex Freeman, okay, maybe. Joe Scally, maybe, but you're not going to get the attacking part of the game with Joe Scally. No. He'll be solid there in the right back position, but he's not going to get forward and he's not going to participate in the build-up going forward. Then after that, I don't mind when I get the invite to come and do Futbol Americas. In fact, I enjoy it. It's a change of pace.
Hey, we enjoy you too.
Yeah, well, not according to what you were saying before the show, but regardless, I'm a beacon of positivity.
Yeah, Beacon. Not Ray?
Huh?
Not Ray? Ray Sunshine is Beacon?
I'm a beacon of positivity.
Okay.
And I like to be positive about the fact that you guys did segments and a show based upon a 15-player list of who was going to play in specific positions for the national team.
The Ryan O'Hanlon article.
Like, how do you find 15 right backs that are at the level of a national team for the United States? England cannot find 15 right backs.
When you get paid by the hour.
Brazil cannot find 15 right backs.
Oh, they definitely can have.
Germany cannot find 15 right backs. And the United States can find 15 right backs. Look, there's 2 or 3 maybe. And at the top of that list, even with coming from an ACL, is Sergino Dest. He has to be the number 1 option, the number 2 option, the number 3 option, and then if something happens to Sergino Dest, we scramble and we find somebody else. There is no chance that Sergino Dest, if he's fit, if he's ready to go, that he's not an important part of what this team does going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only thing that would limit him from being on that roster would be another injury. I mean, we're
setback.
knocking on wood
It'd be a setback.
where we can. But you're talking about Sergino Dest still having to get better. But right now, this sounds like they're settling, right? But isn't he enough right now for the U.S. men's national team with little options available?
Well, let's not forget Sergino Dest actually left the Gold Cup team to continue his rehabilitation with PSV. So maybe they were not as far along in that process as maybe Sergino Dest had hoped, the U.S. men's national team and PSV had hoped. And the best was to go do a full preseason with PSV. It looks to be the right option off of what we saw in this game. He did very well. But I'll go back to what Ali said. You don't have that luxury. Sergino Dest right now is not only the best starting back you have on the right side, he's the second best left back that you have. He was Anthony Robinson's replacement, and he would play there. So he gives you an option, and he also another option probably going forward for a guy in Mauricio Pochettino who likes to tactically make adjustments like we saw in the first camp, where Joe Scally was tucked in as a third center back, and Anthony Robinson was high and wide. That could be Sergino Dest, high and wide. So he gives you a lot of tactical flexibility, but certainly if you're a U.S. men's national team fan watching this, that's great news.
Yeah, and it's...
If I may just say,
yes.
Sergino Dest is not Cafu, right? If for anybody who may be listening to this and saying, look at this guy's pumping Sergino Dest.
At the U.S. men's national team level.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
He's no Cafu. No, he's not. Futbol Americas reference because, Brazil.
You gotta go to Dani Alves. It's a little younger. We skew
Really?
Younger. We skew younger.
Did I age out?
You yourself.
Yes?
You dated yourself right now.
Well, I just take a fool over to Dani Alves, but that's just me.
The kids have to learn.
Well, yeah, they do have to learn. In any case, he's no Cafu. But within that list,
He's Cafu.
he is Cafu and Dani Alves.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Put them in a blender and you got to Sergino Dest at the U.S. men's national team level. But like you said, they're very happy. The U.S. men's national team fans should be very happy to see Sergino Dest back. Ricardo Pepi also had some minutes in this one, speaking of coming back from injury as well. This is great news because when we're talking about positions up for grabs at the goalkeeping position and, of course, up front. But we do want to remind you what's coming up this weekend. The Eredivisie is back. PSV facing Sparta Rotterdam Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. We're excited to see La Liga back on ESPN+. Speaking of, in Spain, Vinicius Jr. and Real Madrid are entangled in a back and forth regarding his contract extension. Reports saying the striker wants to become the highest paid player on the squad, wanting to make more than Kylian Mbappe's salary, which is at an estimated 30 million euros net per season. Vinicius' agents have been working on this for a while. A report back in February 2025. His financial demands is that he continues at the club beyond 2027. Let's talk about another Brazilian on this Real Madrid squad. What's true is that number 9 at Real Madrid is up for grabs. Reports indicating that the club would keep either Endrick or Gonzalo Garcia, who had a stellar tournament at the Club World Cup. Xabi Alonso would only keep one for this season as a main sub for Kylian Mbappe. We know Garcia played this role in the Club World Cup and scored 4 goals in the French striker's absence. So a lot of moving parts. Another one, too. The Real Madrid transfer talk includes, of course, Rodrigo as well, who seems to be on his way out. Rumor has it the Brazilian's next destination is the Premier League, Tottenham Hotspur, as Heung-min Son's eventual replacement. So when we talk about these 3 moving parts, especially up front, which seems to be getting a little bit crowded, Ale, which player is more likely to leave Real Madrid for you?
Endrick is more likely to leave. In fact, it seems like a certainty. And when I say leave, I mean he's not going to be there this season, and he may be out on loan. If it is a conversation about Gonzalo Garcia or Endrick for Xabi Alonso, well, what does Xabi Alonso owe Endrick? What does he know of Endrick? What can he surmise is the talent level of Endrick when he hasn't played for him? He knows what Gonzalo Garcia can do for him. He has no idea, really, what Endrick can do. And Endrick is based on potential. And banking on the potential is a very tricky thing to do as a new manager. Gonzalo Garcia was provided an opportunity during the Club World Cup, and he took full advantage of it. So if indeed, as you just said there, that's the question that Xabi Alonso is debating, there is no debate. And so Endrick will go out on loan. Again, if that's the question. So it would be Endrick, most likely, then Rodrigo, and then Vini, and I don't think Vini is going anywhere anytime soon.
Endrick may be the most easy of the three to offload. On loan, like Ali says, for his age and the experience he can get, and it's just easier to get him off the books. Yes. Vinny's probably the player that most would want to leave because they don't like the attitude, because of the demands, everything we're hearing, all these stories. But Rodrigo is 100% the player that needs to leave. We've seen Rodrigo not find his way on the field. He wants to play on the left-hand side. He gets pushed to the middle. He's behind Vinny.
The question is, who's most likely to leave?
No, correct. Correct.
Okay, you gave me three different categories. No. I'm trying to answer questions here.
It's fine.
Endrick.
And Endrick's going to be easiest.
All right.
But Rodrigo needs to leave. That's the issue here for me.
So who's most likely?
I just told you, Endrick. But Rodrigo needs to leave.
Rodrigo is the one who needs to leave the most.
He's the one who needs to leave the most right now. And the one thing that's going to make it difficult.
I like it how she's explaining to me what you're trying to say. I'll come to you, Cristina. When I don't get something, I'll come to you.
It may be difficult because of the price tag. Maybe they're asking for too much money. But if you look at how he's not felt comfortable on the field and he's not earned, in his mind, the respect of the coaches to stay on the field and be on the field where he wants to be. And then you look at, from his own social media, his own comments about not feeling wanted enough because he doesn't come out in an Instagram profile picture where they put up a few stars. He's not there because he wasn't one of the 30 best players named to the Ballon d'Or. When he's talking about in a Champions League final how nice it would be to play under Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. This is a player that right now is begging to leave, screaming to leave. And quite frankly, if he thinks he's going to be that player, needs to leave because he's not going to do it. He's not going to be that player at Real Madrid with a coach who, quite frankly, decided after the first game of the Club World Cup, I don't need to see you anymore. I don't want to see you anymore. So Rodrigo's the one player that, yes, Endrick is most likely to leave out of these three, but Rodrigo's the one who absolutely needs to leave.
Rodrigo has to be very careful what he wishes for here. Because the reason that he's not on those lists that you just mentioned in the Ballon d'Or top 30 is because he didn't deserve to be. That's simple as that. The reason he doesn't feature ahead of Vini and Mbappe is because he doesn't deserve to. He's not better than those players. He's not better than Vinicius Jr. at what Vini does. He's not better than Mbappe at what he does. And so there has to be a realization by Rodrigo, and I don't think it's going to happen, that he has to look at himself in the mirror and say, all right, there's a role for me here at Real Madrid, but I have to accept the limitations of that role. And is that role with those limitations better than being the super duper star somewhere else in a lesser team? And that is indeed the question and the answer that he has to ask himself and that he has to answer himself. Am I better off being super duper star at Spurs, if indeed that's the case, or am I better off being a role player at Real Madrid? Now, if that were a question posed to me, I'm going to stay at Real Madrid. I will stay at Real Madrid. For the time being, I will stay at Real Madrid. Because I think in that environment, I'm going to be far more successful. Perhaps not as an individual, but here's a novel concept. It's a team sport. And there are only so many stars that are going to be featured. And there's only going to be so many stars that are going to be in the front page. You want to be in the front page of a lesser team? Go ahead and do that. You want to win? You stay at Real Madrid.
That's interesting because when we talk about him leaving and being the super duper star, we're talking about him getting all the minutes and being a starter at every game, right? Isn't that worth more than staying on the bench at Real Madrid?
Well, he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be on the bench. He doesn't have to be on the bench.
Then if he stays at Real Madrid, what is his role then here?
Well, he can play on the right-hand side of the attack. Tucks inside. You have Vini on the left, Mbappe through the middle. And he can be a guy that could tuck into the midfield, that could join in the attack with Mbappe, that could play underneath Kylian Mbappe alongside Vini. These things can happen, but it's dependent upon performance. And that's the part that perhaps Rodrigo doesn't...
That's why I think he already had that opportunity for more than one season under Carlo Ancelotti.
I'm not defending Rodrigo here.
No.
If that's the way it
I'm
comes
trying to
across.
understand. No. I know you're not defending him. You're trying to find the better situation. I asked you a very pointed question, and you're answering it.
Yeah.
But now what I'm saying is that he had that opportunity. Then
Right.
that didn't seem to work.
But my point is that exactly. I think we're saying the same things, but we're coming at it from different angles. I'm saying that Rodrigo has had these opportunities, hasn't had the performances, and now he wants the recognition that high-level performance deserves, where that hasn't been the case for him consistently. All I'm suggesting is, if you're Rodrigo, do you want to be, it's more important for you to be in the social media front page of a lesser team or to be a role player at Real Madrid?
True.
Again, it's a question that would be easy for me to answer, maybe not nearly as easy for Rodrigo.
I understand exactly what you're saying. I think you just said it right there. I don't think it's that easy for Rodrigo. Rodrigo's been hearing his name for the past couple of seasons tied to Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, to Mikel Arteta and Arsenal, who just eliminated Real Madrid from the Champions League. And he's thinking to himself, I could play there. So while us here on this side, that lesser team would be Spurs, I don't even think he's thinking of a Spurs. I think he still thinks there is that team out there for him. I go back to something you said, is be careful what you wish for. We've seen this. Gabriel Jesus, Manchester United to Arsenal.
Manchester City to Arsenal.
I'm sorry, Manchester City to Arsenal.
Neymar to PSG.
Neymar to PSG. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. But you can certainly understand a footballer wanting to back himself. I think when you're at that level, the ego does take over. And certainly he's been hearing his name linked to these teams. He's got to be thinking to himself, there's a reason I'm not exploding here. I can go do it somewhere else.
Right. Well, if it is about ego and it is about backing yourself, then back yourself in the training session against that guy and against that guy and against that guy. If it is about backing yourself, then stay in the fight. You going somewhere else, you're saying, well, I couldn't do it here. I got to go elsewhere and do it over there. And also, and this is just a secondary point here, side note, we're assuming that when he goes to whatever this lesser team is going to be, that he's going to be outstanding.
Right.
Right? There's an argument to be made that Rodrigo is also a product of his environment at Real Madrid, and what we have seen from Rodrigo at Real Madrid has been around the best players in the world. When we have seen Rodrigo with Brazil, it hasn't been nearly as good, nearly as productive, nearly as impactful, because as we have documented time and time again, over the last few years, this generation of Brazil hasn't been as strong as we have seen in the past. So we're assuming that Rodrigo is this almighty player that can take on this role being the super duper guy. I don't think so. That's my opinion.
I want to take it back to someone else that we mentioned with Vinicius asking for this increase. We know that this has been ongoing pretty much for 6 months, maybe even more here, Herc. Is he playing his cards right and asking for this salary increase?
I don't know, because when we hear these reports, oftentimes these reports are planted. There's intent behind it. So I want to take it with a grain of salt. I don't know if this is Vinny Jr. and his camp demanding to be the highest paid individual in Real Madrid. I do not know that for certain. But certainly what we have seen from Vinny Jr. at his best, at his height, what we've seen, the interest in the market for him, I believe it was Saudi Arabia, 250 at one point they offered for him. So there seems to be market value for him there. I could understand the players saying, hey, wait a second, my market value is higher. That of Kylian Mbappe, I'm not certain. I happen to believe Kylian Mbappe is one of the few players in the world's game today that transcends the sport, that has the ability to reach some sort of heights of like a Messi or a Cristiano Ronaldo for this generation. So I have a hard time buying into that he has to be the highest paid player, Vinny, at Real Madrid. I think the highest paid player it should be Mbappe.
Still leverage for you then, what we're seeing?
For Vinny, you mean?
Yeah. With the planted reports and speculates?
If somebody comes out and offers what you just said there, in and around that amount of money for Vinny Jr. and Real Madrid, I say, all right, go on. Get. Because guess what? Rodrigo's still here. He'll play over there. You want to make demands based on what? Right? Look, you're a great player. Vinny Jr. is a great player.
Yes.
One of a kind. Uniquely talented. But don't be coming, and again, we don't know where these reports come from. We don't know who planted the reports, but we can only talk about the reports that are out there. The reports that are out there is that you go knocking on somebody's door and say, I want to be the highest paid player. That's a non-starter when it comes to a negotiation. Because that guy who's playing up top is among the best player, if not the best player in the world. And so, and we've already made a commitment to him. We'll make a commitment to you, and it'll be competitive, and you'll make your money, and you'll be able to pay your cable bill. You'll be all right, Vinny. You're going to be okay.
He's got cable?
I don't know, man. Did I age myself?
No, it's the luxury of having cable and all of the streaming platforms, including ESPN Plus.
What else does he have?
You dated yourself again.
Right, the power bill, the electric bill. He'll be able to pay his bills, is my point. And if I'm Real Madrid and somebody's coming in with an absurd offer, I'll take it.
Right.
And we move on. There'll be other players for Real Madrid. And while they're a major, major player when it comes to negotiating for the big talent around the world, they can do that with a whole lot more power if they have $250 million to present themselves in the negotiating table. So I just don't like the idea of a player coming in and his starting point is, I want to get paid higher than that.
It feels like a strong arm, right?
Yeah.
When has that ever gone well for anybody at Real Madrid?
Yeah.
There's no player that's bigger than the club. They've ushered out way bigger personalities, way bigger
the back
careers.
door. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have to see what Vinicius Jr. agrees to with.
So is Rodrigo staying? Is that? I'm not
You said he's staying now.
So Rodrigo staying?
Back to the initial question. No, we want to remind you that match day 1 of La Liga is coming up starting August 15th. Real Madrid will close out match day 1 facing Osasuna at home at 3 p.m. And I mentioned Senator Bernie Sanders. He had something to say about it. Congratulations to the Vermont Green, who just completed an undefeated season. This is a fantastic soccer team with great management that has generated enormous community support and pride. Undefeated, 2 overtime playoff wins, now national champions. Unbelievable. So great attention that we're seeing, obviously, from Bernie Sanders. Noah Khan is also an investor, by the way, in this team. So a lot of media attention, but
I got to ask a question.
Also,
who's Noah Khan?
Stick season?
The
Love
singer.
Vermont, but it's the season of the sticks tonight.
All right.
Hey,
Maybe I'm not the demographic.
that's strike 3. That's strike 3.
Maybe I'm not the demographic.
Strike 3. That's not series 3.
Maybe he's not singing to me.
First it was Cafu, then it was the cable.
Just, if you don't know Cafu, you're just...
I said I know Cafu. I
don't
said
know
for the
Cafu.
audience out there.
If you don't know Cafu out there, sort yourself
You know
out.
what the,
Google,
you know what the
Google.
kids are saying? If you don't know Noah Khan, sort yourself out. You're living under a rock
We'll
at
come
this
to an
point.
agreement there.
It's okay. We'll send you the song for your ride home. It's a very
That was a
lovely
good
song.
job. That was a
It
good
is.
job.
It is
Actually.
That's all right. That's okay. The other day in FC, there was a guy singing when in the Lionesses celebration, Burna Boy. I have no idea who Burna Boy is. My son told me that Dad, you got to sort yourself out.
There you go.
Papi, you got to sort yourself
Help
out.
yourself out.
Alejandro Moreno learning so much about today's generation.
Burna Boy, and
here.
what's
Yeah.
this guy's name again?
Noah Khan.
Okay. And I should know who this is.
He's got a
He
popular
has a
song
very
out.
popular
Yeah.
song.
All right.
You're gonna listen to it and be like, "Oh, I know who this is." Yeah, you
Probably
are.
not,
We have
but
we have
okay.
faith in you. So I know both of you have experience in USL. We saw such a great turnout for this final here, Herc. I mean, we're talking about MLS, no pro rel. Why is this so important to see this turnout for USL League Two and what Bernie said, talking about community support and pride?
Not just Vermont Green, but Ballard FC and what they have going on in Washington are 2 very successful setups, and they're very organic. It feels like it's not propped up, marketed to you, and come join, this is us now. No, it's an organic setup. It's the way they do it, and it makes you believe that maybe one day pro rel can exist and can work in the U.S. soccer pyramid. You see the atmosphere in Vermont and how great it is. You've seen it in Ballard. You've seen it across the states, how there could be some very well-organized, small be it, but successful setups, and they should have the same right to win with sporting merit their way up. And you see a team like Vermont right now and the backing that it has win the 4th division. And you, in any other sporting landscape around the world, in the footballing pyramid, a proper footballing pyramid, they'd be in the 3rd division. And they'd have the opportunity to get promoted from the 3rd division to the 2nd division and potentially to the 1st division. And it didn't matter how big their stadium was, if they had the means on the field and off the field, like we saw at Luton Town in the Premier League, you could have a team that has a funky stadium, a small stadium, playing 1st division. It makes people realize, or it should make people realize, that it's much bigger than what we see here in Major League Soccer, what we see in Liga MX, because as you know, Liga MX is paused as well. And there are a lot of underserved soccer landscapes that could be doing well under different circumstances. So if anything, this gives me hope to what one day could be here in the United States.
While this tifo of Welcome to the Bernabeu is as good a tifo as you could potentially and ever find anywhere else in the world, it's fantastic. I am willing to bet money that I do not have that Bernie Sanders has no clue what the Santiago Bernabeu is. 0% chance that Bernie Sanders is familiar with El Santiago Bernabeu. Regardless, I digress. It's reminiscent of St. Pauli in Germany.
Yeah.
If no other reason, because of a club that is tied to the community through social causes, through social activism, and they are not afraid of crossing over into what the role of a club should be within a community. That is not just about come and watch us play whenever we have a match, come and support us, and then we're not involved in the day-to-day activities of the community. This seems to be very much in connection with the people around the local area, and the local businesses and the local social causes and social activism. All of that makes this all the more special in being able to win the title locally, right there, in front of your fans, in front of Bernie Sanders and my number 1 singer, Noah Khan.
I was hoping you would remember his name. I'm glad you did. But you will. You'll love the song. He's going to be singing that song next time he does Futbol Americas with us. You have homework to do, Ale.
If he's able to make it into 90s love ballads in Spanish, then maybe.
Oh, wow.
That's what's going on in my car right now.
Hey.
There's also 90s country to mix in, so there you go.
90s country, okay.
All right.
Hey,
Garth?
A little Garth.
Interesting playlist here.
A little Brooks and Dunn, B&D.
Hey, B&D. In case you missed it, not everybody was having a party. Being a goalkeeper,
Little
we
Chayanne.
know isn't easy.
Maná.
Chayanne, Chayanne in it. Hey, check this out though. A goalkeeper goal to tie it up.
I mean, anybody want to defend him? Austin
quite
Pack
the header
does
from
well
Austin
here.
Pack, yep.
And it's also last gasp, right? If you're a goalkeeper coming up in the end, it's because you know it's the last
Oh,
chance.
you got to work on the celebration.
No, the celebration was fabulous. This will be fabulous. See the Franz Beckenbauer Super Cup with Stuttgart facing Bayern Munich August 16, 2 p.m. Eastern on ABC. So happy for Trinity Rodman and happy because we are back on Football W. Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Ali Krieger, Jeff Kassouf, and myself, and Trinity Rodman's teammate Esmond Morgan, who just won the Women's Euros with the Lionesses. We will see you tomorrow on ESPN Plus. Such a vulnerable and human moment. Both of you have talked about your injuries here, and it's tough to see someone so young have to deal with a back injury.
Yeah, it was 4+ long months for Trinity. I believe she's only played 1 game with the U.S. Women's National Team. So oftentimes when you're injured, you think that's it. That's the end of your career. You go to some pretty dark places, and she got back on the field, and first touch, got a goal. It must feel very good.
When you score goals, everything feels better. And when you've had an injury, then it's validation that all the work that you put forth, now you're ready to go. You can trust your body and you can just let your natural talent take over.
114 days passed between the last time we saw Trinity Rodman, April 12th, to what we saw yesterday. All of her teammates were so happy. She is back in a team environment, and it's only 3 days to see us back here again Thursday. Are you coming back with us?
I don't know. Are you inviting me?
You got homework too. You're always invited.
No, I don't know. I don't know that you like me, Cristina.
Ale.
Yeah.
Thing. See you next time.